Yeah, 10 minutes. 10-minute call for our first on course in the Dover Saddlery Meter 50 Classic.
Welcome to Wellington International. We're here for the Dover Saddlery 4-star 1 meter 50 speed classic. Dover Saddlery is a proud sponsor of the ESP annual circuit. Visit them online at www.doversaddlery.com/Wellington. I'm Ellen Sweetnam and I'm joined today by Ty Simpson. Ty, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
We have a total of 46 competitors we'll see in today's class. Cesaroni being the first to take on today's course. He is aboard Vacandu della Nutra. This is a 10-year-old gelding by Zandor out of an O'Hara mare. Ty, looking at the course today, is there anything you looked at that you were a little bit, watching out as a rider to pick out for the round today?
Yeah, I think 1 to 2 is a nice 7-stride line. 2 has that little filler at the bottom. It'll distract some horses down. And then 3 to 4 is a 5-stride. We'll see how horses get to that. You kind of have to get straight. It's a bending line. And then down to the triple should be nice enough. 10 or 11 strides. And then over here off the short turn, the 8 strides could be a little bit up. We'll see how that rides for some. Yeah, so he got the 9 easy. It's a bit of a blind turn, but he got there easy.
There seems to be a few options in today's course. You can, add or take one out, which is good, obviously, with a speed round.
Yeah, for sure. The ones that want to go for it, they have an option to go for it, and the ones that are going to go for a nice clear and see if they can sneak a ribbon will have a nice option to do that.
Yeah. Celso just finishing up there with the 4 Falstad Oxford 9A coming down for him.
Yeah.
So Ty, looking at that, as you said, a lot of options. We had a very positive round yesterday by our course building team here. We had 20 clear in that qualifier. Today is not a qualifier for the Grand Prix, but it's definitely, you'll see different horses and riders come out and, trying to get familiar with get familiar back with Wellington International before season starts.
For sure, yeah. It's a nice thing pre-season allows us to do.
We saw this a little bit yesterday, but our course building team seems to, always build a course that's quite forward and flowing, which is quite nice. But also you have to take that in consideration with the, your horse and the style of its riding.
For sure, yeah. They like to build nice and flowy here, which is great.
We had this yesterday also. Our course building team really likes to put that oxer down by the ingate.
Yeah. Out of the ingate, that's a tough turn, especially in a speed class. You want to kind of get over to it, and they hold up, and then that kind of makes the next line, that 8-stride ride, just a bit forward.
Because it tends to, when you go down, there's more of a, a downhill down there from 9A to B to 10. It doesn't look so much on the screen, but when you're walking in person, it's definitely a slight downhill there. And you're kind of rolling down into the ingate also, which, we might have to watch that front rail of that oxer.
Yeah, for sure. Ingate definitely draws the horses to it, and they know they're on their way home. So.
We now welcome in the USA's Carly Anthony. She is aboard she's aboard Mulletine Shalom. This is an 11-year-old Irish-bred mare by Untouchable. We've seen a lot of our riders that jumped during pre-charity week, that 3-star, and then, we had charity week last week, which was our national week, and now coming back to the 4-star. So it's nice that people had that little introduction for the 3-star, could take a little week off or just chill a little bit, and then come back in and be, more prepared for that 4-star.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the nice thing about pre-season here is you can gear up for it as much as you want, or just take it easy.
And a lot of these riders we'll see jumping during season. It's obviously very difficult to get into FEI during season for riders. So it also gives those riders that may typically not get into FEI during season to have the opportunity to jump FEI here in Wellington.
For sure, yeah.
When watching, walking and watching the course, was there any lie or anywhere you thought that they could make up time, or is it just a little bit solid that you just have to keep tight and keep that canter?
Yeah, there's a couple places, this rollback being one of them. If you want to take a shot, that's a good place there. And then there's a couple lines that you can take the forward distance. The last line you'll see some do 10, which is a bit forward, and then 1, 2 you can be tidy enough to the skinny, but you have to get straight for the 5. And then you kind of got to be a little steady into the triple combination. After that, you can take a shot at that oxer at number 6. It's skinny enough. And then the rest is just kind of nice and flowy.
Next in, we welcome Ireland's Shane Sweetnam. He is aboard Rural Jura SCF. This is an 8-year-old gelding by Presley Boy. I think what is nice about preseason also is we see, the younger horses or the less experienced horses getting tested out. Riders are testing out what string they have for season. This is only an 8-year-old, so jumping that 4-star level, I know Shane has had experience with it and he's had it for a little bit and has been working with it a lot. But it also gives that horse that opportunity to step up to the 4-star level.
Yeah, definitely. Can put it in the 4-star and jump some of the second classes, which is great for developing horses. And again, that's the nice thing about preseason.
So far, we haven't really, of the 4 we've seen, nobody seems to be going hell for leather, which is obviously quite difficult in a 4-star. But as you said previously, there's not so much places where you can take time out besides turning back, and those lines are already kind of built for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that will turn tight won't really look so fast, but they'll be fast with their track.
That is the hard part of jumping a speed class is you want to go fast, but also those lines are all measured and built for you. There's only so much you can't really gallop so much because you'll end up with the wrong distances.
Yeah, exactly.
Shane just coming home there with that 4 falls at 9A. Out of the 4 we've seen so far, 9A has come down twice, and just a few others around the course. But 9 obviously an issue so far, but the first 4 we've seen. Is it something they're landing from the Oxer at 8 and rolling down too much into 9A? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. After the Oxer makes you want to kind of get over there, but it's set at more of an angle than you think. So by the time you get over there, and you want to get really straight, but it's a little bit hard. So sometimes you come in on a little bit of an angle, and then the ACB.
That's something we've seen them do a lot with the courses. Put obstacles either like forward from the turns or else at an angle, so you actually really have to use your corners and your lines. We found yesterday in the jump off, the last Oxer was further forward than the vertical turn back from it, so you kind of had to go out. You couldn't tightly turn so much because you were coming to an Oxer that was lined up forward.
Yeah. That's a good way the course designers will use angles and lines and stuff. So
currently in the ring, we have Adrian Sternlick. She is aboard Caetana. This is a 10-year-old mare by Casico. We were talking about the angles of jumps and all of that. It really is that 4-star level. You step up to the technicality of it. Course builders can't build so much bigger than a 3-star, but they're able to bring that element of technicality into it, and we've seen it.
For sure, yeah. that double is being trickier than you would think.
Is it something when you walked you kind of thought that it was going to be a problem?
A little bit, yeah. It invites you to just kind of roll over to it, but you really need to get straight.
That's a big square oxer also.
Yeah, big square oxer B, and then you're thinking the next line gets pretty steady, especially like you said, going towards the in gate.
Yeah, Adrian just finishing up there with the 12 jumping and 5 for time. Also, that time is set at 78 seconds. Course measured at 485 meters. So outside that time allowed, but with a speed round, some people choose to, take a little bit easy and just use it as an educational round also. 6 to show today will be Gavin Moylan. He is aboard Memphis. This is a 8-year-old gelding by Glenfitch VDL. These two, another combination we saw during pre-charity week here during 2 weeks ago here in Wellington International. These two spending their summer in New York, so picking up some results in Socrates, also including a top 10 finish and a 3-star winning round in Socrates this summer. We were talking about elements of the course. That oxer at 4, it's quite difficult to see from the angle of the screen, but there's a big gap in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's a very airy oxer.
And for that, as a rider coming down to it, is it something, what really are you looking for there? And what way do you typically ride an oxer like that?
I like to give a bit of a gap, but it also depends what kind of horses you're on. The ones, sometimes they'll
look down into it. It has that little, a bit of a gap that some horses might look into it instead of looking over it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just a bit less to hold them off of the jump.
And then being a light color obviously doesn't help the situation either.
Yeah, exactly.
Gavin coming home there with a nice clear round in 71.67, slotting himself into the lead for now. He was our 7th to go. He is our only clear as of now. The USA Charlotte Jacobs joins us next. She is aboard Thomas Court Ballypatrick. This is an Irish bred 10-year-old gelding by Baloo. These two are long-term partnership together. Charlotte seems to, the two of them really got into each other this summer and picked up some top results at that 5-star level.
She has a great string of horses that she's put together.
And they're really ones she's worked at over the years and really tried to develop and create that relationship with them.
Oh, for sure, yeah. She's going to go for it here. Knows that she can get up that first line in 6. And 10 into the triple.
She's always a contender for a jump off. She'll always try her best.
Loves to go fast.
Yeah.
She's great, always tries.
I guess also looking at that 9A that's caused so many problems is you kind of, it's late in the course, you're gathering speed as you're going around, and then, as you said, it's so easy to just come around that bend and let them float down into the double, especially if you see that stride that just lets them float into it.
Exactly, yeah. It really sets you up to do that.
For Charlotte, she had her canter and came down to it so nice as well. Really nice there, Charlotte coming home in 68.16, so slotting herself into the lead as of now. She didn't look super fast, but it's kind of the catch-22 with that speed class is she was tied everywhere, she kept her canter, so, do you think that's going to be a time that's going to be difficult to beat today?
Yeah, I think there's certain horses that'll come in that have just a touch faster of a foot pace, but that was a great round. I think she did all the strides that could do. And I think the only thing that there'll be horses that can just do those same strides just a touch faster.
Yeah, and then also that horse is so scopy. It's
Yeah.
obviously great to have a horse that's scopy, but they take some extra seconds in the air also, which doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly.
Alison Robitaille joins us now. She is aboard Porto Cristo B. Porto is a 8-year-old gelding by Perox. These two having a successful summer together. They picked up a 4th place in a 2-star classic at Old Salem. She's always someone that goes for it and always is a fast rider and a jump off.
Yeah. She had a good day yesterday. Nice double clear round.
That's something we've seen over the last couple of days with this building. It's been super positive for everybody. It seems that, that forward course obviously is nicer to ride and all that, but it's everybody is coming out with a very positive experience so far.
Yeah, definitely. Which is great to have coming into the season here.
That's really what you want.
For sure.
She seemed to take that little extra time coming down to that double. It's probably something people have watched. She's 9th to go. I'm sure her team is watching the first couple while she's warming up and stuff.
Yeah.
But definitely something people are catching out.
Definitely. She rode very straight after the Liverpool, the blue Liverpool there. Oh, that's too bad.
Just unlucky that last Oxer coming down at 12. We mentioned the rollback to 11 and also coming downhill at 10 towards that line, or towards that ingate, sorry. But also you're coming back off your ingate from 11 and you're trying to get steam to go back up the hill to a big square Oxer also, which is quite difficult to do.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a number, some will do 9, some will do 10. I think she just got a little bit on the outside and it just got a touch away from her, which is too bad because it was a great round.
Yeah, really nice. Next in, we welcome Caroline Mowini. She is aboard Halalay. This is a 13-year-old mare by VDL Zoroka Blue. She got this horse 12 months ago or so. A little bit longer, and has really, been growing together and, really developing their relationship.
Yeah, building a really nice partnership. She's a great young rider.
She's really a rider that is well beyond her years, has jumped super big classes, and we were saying yesterday she trains with Jess Mendoza, and Jess has really equipped her with all the tools to go into those big classes at such a young age.
Yeah, for sure, which is it's really nice to see for the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of young riders coming up through the ranks that will be great to have on teams. And
yeah, it's good that you guys really seem to be focused and also concentrating on the development of those younger riders, which is really nice to see because they get to jump to 3 stars, and then eventually when some other riders start to rotate out of that 5-star level, at least you guys have a good team and experienced riders to step in.
Yeah.
Because really that team competition is not so much you guys get a chance to do.
No, we don't have so much of that over here. We do have one team thing for the U25 actually, which is really nice. Week 4 of WEF gives young riders a good opportunity to jump on a team environment.
Carly Mooney just coming home with that 8 false there. Next in, we welcome Tanner Grotkin. Tanner is aboard Cardoza 4. This is a 12-year-old gelding by Colstrus.
Tanner's really gotten on with this horse lately. He had a great win up in Tryon, actually.
Tanner's another one of the up-and-coming, younger U.S. riders that are, really focused on that development and stepping up to that level.
Yeah. He has a pretty good string of horses right now. We should see him tomorrow in the 4-star.
Obviously coming from a horse family, you've really seen him come up the ranks, obviously with equitation and all the things as a junior rider, and it's really stand to them, watching as a European, the elegance of, that equitation really comes through on those riders.
Yeah, for sure. His whole junior career, he had a great junior career, and then right away he stepped up into the bigger level and had success as soon as he did, which was awesome.
Yeah, he's gotten to jump on some Nations Cup teams also, which is amazing. Just unlucky that vertical at 11 coming down.
Yeah, that was too bad. That plank, tough right there by the in gate.
That's where we were kind of talking about how our course building team has really put the little extra bits in to catch people out.
Yeah, for sure. That was too bad. It was such a nice, smooth round.
And next in, we welcome Canada's Tiffany Foster. She's aboard Battle Cry. This is an 11-year-old gelding by Vigo Daderzosu Safex, out of a quick dancer mare. These two picking up some top results during the summer. Top 10 finish in a 3-star classic at the Highland Masters. And also 5th place in a 3-star welcome in Vancouver this summer. Tiffany's another one that has such a great string of horses that she's bringing up. Obviously has, jumped at that 5-star level, has won 5-star Grand Prix, but seems to, now focused on the development of that next top horse.
Yeah, for sure. She has a great string and a great upcoming string.
That's really, the hard part when you're at the top is to think about, someday you'll have to replace the top horse and find another one. So it's hard to concentrate on that development when you have such a good horse to go into the ring with.
For sure. And I think that that's really tough for the people that are at the top to stay there is the really hard part. Obviously to get there for sure.
Yeah. It's staying up there and having the horses to do so is just so hard, Finding a good horse that can jump that level is incredibly difficult to find, and also one that can jump that big, but also go into a ring and perform under that pressure.
Yeah.
Really nice. So just the 4 faults at 74.79. Just rolling down into that last part of that combination. I think it's something we haven't really seen happen so much, but people tend to be adding into that triple combination. That's also rolling down a hill, and you're coming down at the side of the ring, which isn't something some horses tend to enjoy.
For sure. I think the ones that'll go for it, you can leave the stride out right away after number 4, but it all is so very horse dependent that
Jake Ward is next in. He is aboard a Jagger. This is an 11-year-old stallion by Marley. Another one of our competitors that came over to us during pre-season, picking up some top results all over Europe this summer also. Something we've seen, seem to see the last 2 years is more Europeans are coming over earlier. They come for pre-season seemingly and then stay for WEF, and I think in the past typically people just tend to come for WEF.
Yeah, I think just having the preseason available is so nice for everybody. The professionals can come over and get the experience in the rings and stuff and jump nice classes, and then it's also great for amateurs and junior riders that also they can come and jump in the different rings and stuff, and not as many people here, which is great.
Yeah.
Get some confidence before heading into the season.
True. Jake just coming down to that triple combination seemed to take one out, and the horse just didn't really get the message to it. Something we see during preseason but we don't have during season is the white banners across or around the ring. During season we obviously have the LED boards, so they change color and they're animated and it's a totally different ball game, but the white banners across the ring, especially looking at that triple combination with it being like purple and white, the poles tend to camouflage themselves into the side, which doesn't help the horses seeing it either.
Yeah, can make the jumps blend in quite a bit.
And the glaring sun off white obviously doesn't help either.
Mm-hmm.
After that stop, Jake seemed to, take a breath and just use this more of an educational round.
Yeah, slow it down, smooth it out, and now we'll have a nice time for next time. He'll had a nice confident round going for the next time.
I guess something we see also with the Europeans coming over is their horses get to climatize also. Jake coming from the UK, it's cold and rainy and miserable over there. So their horses are definitely not so used to the sun and the nice weather and the humidity down here. So it's probably a good idea before season starts to come get your horse over here, let him chill, get him climatized, and be ready to go then for season.
For sure. I think it's great that more and more are coming over for preseason.
Currently in the ring, we have Erin Ballard. She is aboard New Star. This is a 12-year-old mare out of Camel. Owned by Elon Furter. Something we spoke about yesterday with Erin is we look at buyers and people who are purchasing horses and owners for people. Erin with Elon has been so fortunate. She got to go to the Paris Olympics, and every time I see her, she's on a different horse, but she has so much education and talent to ride any horse under the sun, really.
For sure, yeah. Elan does a great job keeping her mounted with great horses, and she does a great job being able to get on them and make them successful right away.
She's a rider. You put her on any horse and she'll get a good result out of it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Just like that.
Really, really nice there for Erin Ballard. Clear round in 66.62, slotting herself into the lead for now. 15 to go out of that 45 we will see in today's class. She was 5 seconds faster than Gavin Moyland, who is currently standing in second place. Next in, we welcome Jad Dana. He is aboard Lioness. This is a 9-year-old gelding by Cannon. Jad always a fast rider. He's always someone you have to put your money on in a jump off for sure or speed class.
Definitely. He's very, very fast, always going for it, which is fun to see. We'll see him take a shot here, I'm sure.
And his horses always are so eager, so forward. They want to take on all those jumps at the angles he puts them at and galloping down to them.
Yeah, and he does a great job not getting in their way, which is awesome. He really lets the horses jump how they want to jump, which I think comes from Leslie Howard. She did a great job with that.
I think yesterday we saw one or two people, I believe Christian van der Veen also showed with no martingale, which is something we don't typically see at this level, but Jad seems to ride all of his horses with no martingale and just constantly letting them just go forward and using their own ability, really.
Yeah, I think that's kind of becoming a little bit more popular. You see a few more people doing it every year, which is interesting.
I asked Sydney this yesterday, but the current debate on back boots we obviously saw during the Spruce Meadows Rolex Grand Prix. Scott Brash, who was wearing no back boots at all, not even brusher boots, and it's something we've seen in the industry kind of turn towards.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. Letting the horses jump with their natural ability, and I think it's super. More and more people are doing it.
The industry, there's a lot of new FAI rules and all of that comes into play. But, it seems to be more and more natural. You see people taking off shoes, obviously with the no back boots and things like that, as people are really starting to let their horse expose their talent without some of those aids.
Yeah, definitely, which is great.
Currently in the ring, we welcome Canada's Chris Pratt. He is aboard Lollipop. This is a 9-year-old gelding by Cape Cod.
Chris had a great day the other day,
Mhm.
yesterday with his other horse. Ended up second in the qualifier.
So fast yesterday.
Yeah, that was very, very fast.
He's such an elegant rider, and he's very efficient in jump offs. He's not one of the riders you look at and be like, oh, he's going super fast, but he's so effective in the way he rides. He's good tight turns, always keeping that canter, and gets those top results out of these horses.
Yeah.
He was a rider we saw a lot during the Young Jumper Championships in Michigan this year, really focusing on the development of the horses. He was actually our leading young horse rider. Also, his owner's picking up that top breeding award also. So it's nice to see, the focus of some professional riders and on the young horses and developing them within the U.S.
Yeah. That is really nice to see.
Because it's not typically a norm within the U.S. about breeding and developing those young horses.
Yeah, no, there's few people that do it, and I think it's great. It'd be nice to be able to do it more over here.
It's just so much more expensive than Europe, really.
Yeah, very. I think that's
The problem.
yeah, exactly.
Chris just coming home with that 8 false there, rolling down to 9. B coming down, and as well as that turn back to 11. He seemed to just turn the corner and saw what he saw and committed to it, which you kind of have to do when you turn a corner.
Yeah.
We now welcome Bliss Ears into the ring. She is aboard Goodbye. This is a 14-year-old mare out of Rivella Light. Bliss spending her summer circuit in Europe this year, picking up some top results, these two together, including a 5th place in a 2-star classic in Valkenswaard. Also, our other horses picking up some great results in Europe. As a US rider, it's obviously quite difficult to go to Europe for the summer, and especially within North America now, your guys' circuit during the summer is really packed of FEI, and you guys get to jump those ranking classes and all of that. But you still see those American riders go to Europe and spend that summer in Europe and developing them through there.
Yeah, and I think it's also a big thing for teams.
Mm-hmm.
All the team stuff is over there, so usually I find you have a group that go over for the team stuff, and then some that want to get on the teams. Bliss has been on numerous teams, so I think she just kind of just sticks to that program, and it works for her, which is great.
We saw this year during the summer there was 2 3-star Nations Cups, one in Traverse City and then one in Canada also.
Yeah.
Which is a great addition. I know the one in Traverse City was new this year, but it's a great addition to start, as you said. A lot of those 3-star Nations Cups are in Europe, which makes it very difficult for American riders to get that exposure at that Nations Cup level, and especially that introduction level as a 3-star. But it's nice to see that the U.S. Equestrian Federation are all gearing towards that and trying to focus on the development of those younger riders.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice to have the one in Traverse City, and then the one in Traverse City and Canada are very close together. I think.
Yeah, there's like 2 weeks apart. I think.
Yeah, I think they're 1 or 2 weeks apart, which is nice. A lot of the times you'll see some riders that jump to Canada will end up in Traverse City, which is great.
Blythe Crowley is in currently on Theo Duck TNLZ. This is a 14-year-old Zangerzein gelding by Toulon. These two spending their summer circuit in Ocala, picking up some top results there. They were 3rd in a 2-star Grand Prix qualifier during the summer.
Blythe has a few nice horses now.
We saw her jump Kingston yesterday, the small stallion.
Yeah,
Always fun to watch.
really cool horse.
Always has so much character when it's in the ring. It's always messing around and
Oh yeah,
really enjoying its time in there, which is cool to see.
for sure.
We were saying yesterday the ones kind of like that tend to be the best ones. They're all a little bit quirky.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, the best ones are always a little bit special and
Mhm.
hard to ride. And
Just that Oxer at 8 coming down there, just a little bit unlucky there for Blythe, but overall very smooth, positive round.
yeah, very smooth, nice round. I think she was quick enough.
First of 3 before our midway drag break. This is Ansgar Holsker Jr., and he is aboard Tulum. This is a 16-year-old stallion by Choco Blue. Ansky, another one of our riders that spent some time in Europe this summer, getting to jump on that 3-star level and really developing himself, and his team are very focused on the development of him.
Yeah, and they've done a great job. He has great horses, and he's really excelled through the ranks quickly and nice.
We talked about Carla Mooney being, ahead of her time for her age. Ansky's another one that's definitely like that.
For sure. Wise beyond his years,
Mhm.
definitely.
He's such a talented rider, and he's always someone I watch, and he is so good at supporting his horse through his leg, but not so much putting pressure on them that they're running away from him. He
Yeah.
just has that good connection and support to just keep them encouraged that, they're good and they can keep going.
Definitely.
Another one with a great string of horses. His team has really been focused. He has some young or older horses. Like Tulum is a 16-year-old stallion, so more experience, but it also is giving Ansky the confidence to go in and, make a run for his money and try to get placed in a class like this.
Definitely, yeah. He has a great partnership with this horse. That was a very unlucky rail. At number 10, just barely touched it.
Yeah, Ansky just coming home there with 4 faults and 66.61. We have only 2 clears so far. So definitely something you kind of look at and you would think we'd have more clears than that, especially yesterday we had 20 clear in that class. Looking at it as just something that people are trying to go for and taking those little risks. But, overall you look at the jumps that have come down pretty, we've an even field of a lot of jumps coming down today.
Yeah, which is great to see. You hate seeing when one jump is like a bogey fence, so it's nice that there's rails kind of all over. A lot of people with 1 down or 2 down, which
It was a positive round at the end of the day.
yeah, exactly. Always staying positive and preparing them for the next time, which is
The
what we're
goal,
trying to do.
really. Yeah.
Exactly.
Adrian Sternley comes back to us again. She is aboard Los Angeles. This is a 11-year-old gelding by Los Angeles. These 2 were 6th in the winning round at the Royal this year, the 5-star up there. Yeah, we talked earlier about those 5-star riders trying to develop their horses. I think a very big skill for those riders is to also understand that when that 5-star horse is gone out of that level, that it's important to keep developing the less experienced horses, but also not pushing them up there just because you want to be in a 5-star.
Definitely.
And I feel like Adrian's done such a good job of that. She's been at the top of the level. She's competed at the 5-star level, but has taken a step back in the last year or so and really focused on the development, which is nice to see.
For sure. Really nice to see. Yeah, she was up there for a few years, and then she's getting back up there now, I
Hmm.
think, which is great.
She's one that has a really nice string of horses that you could see in like 12 months or so that she'd have, two or three nice five-star horses to
Yeah,
jump.
definitely, which is super, and for the team is also great. She had a lot of success on the team
Hmm.
a few years ago, and I'm sure she wants to get right back there.
Yeah, just 4 falls there, that last part of that triple combination coming down and picking up those time falls as well. But as we said, today's also an educational route for the horses. You might have a fence, and it's always important to keep going before, just using it as that educational round.
Definitely, for sure.
Next in, we will welcome Ireland's Philip McGuan. He is aboard Chrysling van de Bosnoff. This is an 8-year-old mare out of Carmbol. Have you found, you are here for a preseason, you're going to watch these classes. It's quite interesting to see horses develop. I know for myself, I saw a lot of horses during preseason last year, and even looking at them showing right now, it's cool to see the development of horses and how, the aids of Wellington and the classes available here, and all the what's to offer here has really helped the development of these horses.
For sure, yeah. Definitely, they can come jump a nice 4-star here, which is great, and
Hmm.
then I'm sure we'll see some of them jump during Wellington.
Hmm.
For sure, a lot of these guys aren't on their main horses, which is good to see.
It's cool to see people string and see what they're typically jumping in, like the meter 40.
Yeah,
Typically not as classed that everybody sits down and watches.
exactly, which is cool. They all need to jump a couple small classes once in a
Hmm.
while.
I feel like everybody kind of knows the trick to that now. People are really focusing in on getting that straight line and coming out a little bit before rolling back to or coming down to 9A.
Yeah, they're riding really straight after the Liverpool, and then getting over, which is nice. I think if
Hmm.
you turn right after the Liverpool, you kind of put yourself there on a funny angle in the ACB.
Yeah. Phillips just finishing up there with the 4 falls in 76.38. Just unlucky that Horseware Ireland vertical at 3 coming down. One of the obstacles we've seen, I think it's come down the most, so definitely something that we'll have to watch in the second half and see if people are catching on to that. We're going to do a quick touch up, a drag of the surface. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for another 20 or so to see in today's 32,000 Dover Saturday 4-star 1 meter 50 classic. Welcome back to Wellington International. We are here again for the Dover Saddlery 4-star 1m50 Speed Classic. Dover Saddlery is a proud sponsor of the ESP annual circuit. Visit them online at www.doversaddlery.com/Wellington. I'm Ellen Sweet. I'm back with you again, and Ty is still here with me. Thank you, Ty, for staying around.
Thanks for having me again.
Still holding on to that top spot is Aaron Ballard in 66.62. We've actually seen 2 clears so far, so it's definitely something that is causing a few issues. But as we said previously, it seems to be throughout the whole course. First in after that drag break will be Michaela Langmar. She is aboard Giselle NS. This is an 8-year-old mare by Baloo Daru. We've seen a lot of 8-year-olds today. We're definitely seeing people step up those horses. Not a lot of them I'm super familiar with. So you're kind of seeing that second string come to light.
For sure. I think being a second class, okay, it's still a big class, meter 50 ranking class, but being the second class of the 4-star week is a great place for the horses to step up and jump some bigger fences.
That is really the added benefit of being here in Wellington, is we get to watch some of the top athletes in the world compete on their top horses.
Yeah.
And, you guys get to compete with the best, which is obviously, you want to win against the best to be the best.
For sure. It definitely throws you right in, which is great. Competition is always nice. Michaela has a great string of horses right now.
Just coming home there with that 4 falls and 68.13. Slotting herself into 5th place so far. As we said, only 2 of those clears. So I definitely think the 2 clears is not something we kind of thought of before the course started.
Definitely not.
But it seems to be, super positive course and very forward, but jumps are kind of coming down everywhere, which, is a positive sign of a good course.
For sure. All over, and, not knowing so many of these horses, and I think they're kind of ones that are coming up for people, so bringing them along, and you don't really know what to expect.
Speaking of those top athletes with the top horses, we now welcome world number 1 Kent Farrington. He is aboard Greya. This is 11-year-old mare by Clushs. I think Greya is probably my favorite horse in the world right now.
I would for sure agree with you there.
The way she jumps, the way she has developed with Kent, he's done such a good job of developing her into the best horse in the world, really, right now.
Yeah, he does a great job, I think, with all of his horses. His program is great and brings them all along from a young age, which is awesome. He's had Greya for a while, and yeah, like you said, has developed her into the best horse.
His style of developing is always something I admire. He's able to produce that horse that is so scopy, but also just like slides across all the jumps, so it's so fast in the jump off, as well as being able to gallop and also turn on a hairpin, really.
For sure, which I think describes his type perfectly.
He has a real talent of, finding a gifted horse young and training it into the way that make it a winner, really.
For sure.
His string is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just that middle part of that combination coming down there for world number 1 Kent Farrington on Greya. You see the red ribbon on her tail, so adding to that, the best in the world are always a little bit quirky.
Yeah, for sure. She's a hot mare, spicy mare, which is cool to see.
Next in, we welcome Cassidy Rain. She is aboard Dialaboo Jump. This is a 12-year-old mare. These two spending their summer in Europe. We spoke yesterday, we saw Nina Malave win our Grand Prix qualifier with one of the Rain family's horses, My Clementine. So it's always good to see owners supporting, developing riders. Obviously, Nina, one of the most phenomenal riders, young riders, or riders in general in the world at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Also wise beyond her years.
Yeah.
She had great success. I think won her first 5-star
Yeah.
Grand Prix this year, which is awesome.
And also picked up, top placings at a 5-star level all over the place,
But
Spruce and
yeah,
in Europe, and
everywhere.
all of her horses are super consistent also, which is amazing to see. Cassidy's someone we've seen, start to step up more and more. She obviously, has competed at the North American Youth Championships. She's part of that major league circuit now as well. So being able to step up to that 5-star level is definitely, an education for a younger rider.
For sure. This year, yeah, she really stepped up into the 5-star, which is nice. Good to see. Again, young riders stepping up all over.
Just that A false there for Cassidy Rain. We talked about the US, but also, Team Canada for herself. It's a very important skill for countries to have and nations to have, is to, you might focus on the top riders and all the good guys at the very top that are experienced and seasoned, and you can get good results out of them. But it's also very important to remember that, there'll be a time that'll come that horse won't be able to jump at that level anymore, and not guarantee that rider has a second horse jump at that level.
Yeah, definitely.
Next in, we welcome Ashley Bond. She is aboard Vago Chin. This is a 9-year-old gelding. Out of a mare by Chin Chin. Definitely something we've seen over the last couple of years, and the breeding coming into play a little bit more is we always typically had the stallions over and over and over again, the famous ones that seem to sire everything, but we're starting to get more diverse with the stallions that people are using, and trying to mix and match and create more of a fast horse and more sporty than what's typical for show jumpers.
Yeah, definitely. For sure, always evolving. The breeding's always evolving, which is cool.
And breeding and developing a horse is such a skill into itself.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Just that for false there for Ashley Bond. 65.91. Our fastest round so far. Slotting herself into third place. Still only on those 2 clears.
Yeah, I could count on Ashley to be the fastest.
Yeah.
Always
She's
a
always
fast
someone,
rider.
yeah. I always find she is so confident. She'll go into a 5-star and ride a jump off very similar than like a 2 or 3-star or 4-star, but the way she's able to support her horses turning into a big 5-star oxer is incredible to watch.
For sure. Definitely.
And so brave.
So brave, always game, always trying to win, which is awesome.
She'll always put her best foot forward no matter what.
Yeah.
And she's good horses. She's been able to develop good horses over the years. And we saw Nightwish jump yesterday, which is a younger horse for her, but so much potential, the scope. Its rideability has improved so much over the last 12 months, which really shows how, Ashley's focused on the next development and looking towards LA really to have that horse.
For sure. Which I think you always have to be thinking about the next step. Building your string.
And that's, LA's not for another couple years, so the top 5-star horse a person might have now, or a rider might have now, may not be still around for LA.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few that are in that boat.
Next in, we welcome the USA's Hallie Grimes. She is aboard Lady Applause. This is a 9-year-old mare, previously ridden by Mark Blumen, and these two spending their summer in Europe. I know Hallie spent some time over in Europe this summer. She got to jump on the 3-Star Nations Cup team in Drammen. So another US rider that you guys are really focusing in on of development and, looking towards that Nations Cup, the 5-Star Nations Cup in future.
Yeah, definitely. Hallie, great rider, and I think has aspirations to be on the big teams, which is awesome for the U.S.
Another super competitive rider, and I know Hallie's focusing a lot on her string and developing her younger horses. She has really, really nice younger horses and such good quality, and she's taking so much time in developing them.
Yeah, very.
Just looking down into the treble, rolling downhill is always difficult to adjust, especially with a walked line.
For sure.
We spoke about the under 25 series earlier on. Hallie, the winner of the series last year, and also picking a win on the Grand Prix or on the grass field, sorry, with her mount from yesterday's qualifier, Carolina Ballmore.
Yeah, she had a great, very consistent series. The win on the grass was really cool.
Coming home with that 12 faults there for Hallie Grimes, and just the one time fault as well. But as we said, a newer mount for Hallie, so it's a good education to get into a ring like this and practice and get that time before season starts.
Definitely.
Next in, we welcome Max Rutledge. He is aboard Me the Rebel. This is an 8-year-old stallion by Cornetto Blensky. So one of those famous stallions we spoke about earlier. These two, one of our Europeans that have come over to us, so spending their time in Europe, picking up some top results at 2-star level. Max, a rider we saw during preseason last year. One of those Europeans that are choosing to come to us in Wellington instead of, might go to the Sunshine Tour in Spain, or, that circuit obviously has started up as well. So it's cool to see that they choose to fly over here with us and compete against the best over here.
Definitely. I think certain people, they choose their years, which is good, and it's chosen here.
We spoke a little bit with Sydney yesterday about the market, how a lot of US riders or US athletes choose to purchase a lot of horses from Europe, which I think in play rolls on the breeding and the development. And obviously in Europe we have Lanaken, and it's real focus on the development of those younger horses. But it's really nice to see that European riders are able to come over here and have the horses for Americans or others to try, and they don't have to fly to Europe. They can go and pop on a few horses while they're here, and also jump pre-season to maybe sell a horse before season starts.
For sure, yeah. I think certain ones that come over are focused on that for sure.
Max Rutledge giving us a clear in 70.00, slotting himself into the 3rd place. The slowest of those clears so far, but only 3 clears, which is quite interesting to see. It's not something I don't think anybody would have called before the class.
Definitely not. I was not expecting it.
Another rider with a great string is Vanessa Hood. She is aboard FBW Graphic. This is a 12-year-old mare. By Graph.
Vanessa's put a great string together lately. She works very hard at it, which is great to see.
A great horsewoman, always super dedicated on her horses and the best for them.
Very much so.
We saw her jump Klitschko yesterday, which is that horse that she got to jump at the European Championships, which we talk about Vanessa being such a good horsewoman and super dedicated. It's really nice to see her being able to jump at that 5-star level and be able to go to the European Championships and, be able to compete at such a high level after putting in so much work over the years.
For sure.
I love her string. She has, a good 5 stars, good 4 stars. She's really worked on developing all of them, and they seem to, a lot of them come to tune at the right time, which is cool for her to have the variety.
Definitely. That was a super turn. It was a great round. She should be very pleased with that.
That was so nice. Clear round there for Vanessa Hood. Slotting herself into 2nd place. Something we've seen come down, I think the second most, 4 times so far, is that vertical at 11. Looking at that as a rider and looking to, when you walk it, is there a line you walk for that? Is there a certain point you hit that, like, okay, I have 3 strides from here, or do you just try and roll back, give yourself room, and ride off your eye?
Yeah, that's roll back, kind of right off your eye. You want to give yourself enough room. Also, if you're more so 11 to 12, if you're planning on a number there, you got to jump 11 a certain way, kind of forward, and so you want to make sure you get that done.
And I guess also looking at it, you can't really slice across 11, even if you're daring to do so, because 10's right there in your way.
Exactly, yeah. Then that makes the next line just a little bit blind, that first stride.
We welcome back Shane Sweetnam again. He is aboard Corrine van Klapschuit's Z. This is a 9-year-old gelding by Comolfont. This is one of Shane's kind of speed horses. He's picked up some top results over the summer. Also, these two were the winner of the 3-star Grand Prix a couple weeks ago here. Always super fast, this horse.
And Shane also a very fast rider.
Yeah. We saw Shane's Olympic mount yesterday, James Concruz. Maybe might see him tomorrow in the Grand Prix. I know Shane is preparing for other shows and seasons, so it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to bring him in for that 4-star Grand Prix, or he chooses to ride one of his other mounts. We saw him earlier on Rural Juror and now on Corrine. Really nice clear there for Shane in 75.15. Slotting himself into 5th as our slowest clear round so far. You would be led to believe that Shane might be jumping that horse in the Grand Prix just because he didn't go for it so much with her, or him when typically does.
Yeah, setting them up for tomorrow.
Jordana comes back to us again on Diamant. This is a 10-year-old gelding by Diardo. These two picking up a bunch of top results over the summer, including in Tryon and Ocala. They picked up a second place, finishing a 3-star Grand Prix qualifier in Tryon towards the end of the season. We spoke about the back boots earlier. I've heard some debate, let's call it, about not wearing bell boots even, like or brusher boots, like having that at the back boots just as protection. Obviously jumping at a super high level, and some people understand or see that point of view of having that extra little protection for them, but also some people are want to just leave them alone. We saw Scott obviously and the Rolex with no boots on whatsoever. Is that something you think about with putting belt or back boots on, just brusher boots just to protect their back legs?
Yeah, I also think it also depends on the horse. Some horses, they frequently click their legs behind, so you want the protection. Some don't like boots, period.
Yeah.
In front or behind. Some, I think it's very horse dependent.
With a horse that doesn't like boots, front or behind, is that, you have to watch their legs a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more cautious in a way that they'll probably get more friction off their legs than a horse with boots on.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, yeah, I think the ones that don't are pretty sure-footed and know right where the legs are. They don't. But also, things can happen.
Yeah, that's the joys of our sport, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Judge is finishing up there with the 8 faults. Next in, we welcome Ali Worlington. She is aboard Danger 76. This is an 8-year-old gelding by Dallas. Ali having a super successful summer, picking up some top placings in Tryon and Kentucky, including a 6th place finish in a 2-star welcome in Kentucky. Currently sitting in that top spot is still Aaron Ballard. Time to beat is 66.62. And on those 5 clears so far, it'll be interesting to see what it'll happen as the second half progresses. looking at the order of go, it's obviously very different to a Grand Prix. Grand Prix typically order goes in reverse order from the qualifier. So with a class like this, it's just a very much a mix of everybody. Ali having a super summer. She got to jump in a Nations Cup team. Her good gelding, we saw her jump yesterday. A super partner for her and really a horse of a lifetime.
Yeah, she's putting together a great string also.
I always love preseason because you get to see like the development of the second string or the younger horses, or people are testing them out and seeing what horses are made for first season.
Yeah.
We've seen that Oxer come down quite a lot in the second round, and not so typically the double, which caused a lot of problems in the first round. Is it something you think people are now cautious of 4A and know how to ride it and come out, which I think we're seeing pretty much everybody do,
Yeah.
and then kind of take that Oxer at 10 a little bit for advantage, that they're just rolling down, and then a lot of them are just clipping that front rail.
Yeah, exactly. I think the six after the double gets pretty steady. And then you're right by the gate also, which draws the horse's eyes over there, and they get a touch distracted.
Next in, we welcome Brittany Raffleritz. She is aboard Commander Bond. This is a 9-year-old stallion by Ciardo the First. Brittany typically spending her season in Ocala, so it's nice to see people changing it up and coming to us here instead of traveling. Was it just a big thing? Also, you have your base in Ocala. You don't really want to travel so much, so it's cool to see people choosing to travel to come to us.
For sure. I think you see that more and more.
I find definitely during preseason.
Yeah.
We spoke about earlier. It is so difficult for riders to get into FEI during season, which shows the caliber of the riders and horses that really come to us.
Oh, for sure. Definitely, the young riders also have a tough time, which is why I think the U25 division is great here, and it's a very competitive division.
It's a great opportunity to develop the younger riders. You guys get to jump on grass. You guys get to jump on a team. You guys get to jump under the lights.
Yeah.
And you guys have good building and good jumping always. So it's nice to see that that's definitely an added benefit for younger riders to have that experience.
For sure, and I feel like it gets bigger and bigger every year. The amount of people that do it. I think last year we had 80 people.
Yeah, it was loads last year.
Crazy.
Just 4 faults there. We have about 9 left to go in the first, or in our speed round today. We spoke about the back boots. Another debate that's going on in our world at the moment is shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes on or off.
Yeah.
Depends
I'm
on
either
the
way.
horse.
It depends on the horse for sure.
Your thoughts on Henrik has. I feel like Henrik or Peter Fredriksson has been doing it forever. I feel like he went to Tokyo with no shoes on. He's a big advocate for that, and a huge horseman with that connection to his horse. He seems to have such a deep rooted connection with all of his horses. But now we see Henrik has done it with King Edward wears no shoes, and more people are trying it. Is it something you've tested out the waters with?
I have tested it out. I think it's great. I also think it has you as a rider understand more about the horses. You have to, paying attention every day to their feet. And yeah, you do the same when they have shoes on, but I just feel like not as much. Their feet change more when they don't have shoes on. But I think it's horse dependent. They like it. The surfaces nowadays are so good that we can jump without shoes, which helps a lot. And
it's definitely something that some horses seem to really enjoy, and some horses not so much. And the trick with it, I guess, or the downfall of it is the days you choose to jump on grass, you can't really go in with no shoes on or studs on.
Yeah, which that is definitely a downfall. I think there's ways around that though. They have glue on shoes. You can just pop a normal shoe on, and some horses don't seem to mind that. So I don't know. I think it's horse dependent again.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation to have within our industry at the moment, because people, people are very much in two minds. I don't think anybody has a super strong opinion about it either way, but people are very intrigued by it.
Definitely. I think it was very much it was trending right after, was it Tokyo, that
Yeah.
the whole, I think a lot of the Swedes didn't have
Yeah, I
shoes
feel
on,
like all their team didn't have shoes
Yeah.
on.
which was very interesting.
Ansgar Hosker Jr. comes back to us again. He is aboard Cannabis. This is a 10-year-old mare by a Hunter Scenario. Seems like a newer mount for Onski, picking up some top results again in Europe. Fourth in a 4-star classic in Valkensvaard. Also picking up a win in a 4-star classic in Valkensvaard also. Going to Europe also adds that extra element of you're competing against a lot of the best in the world, and
For
trying to get
sure.
into those big shows is super difficult. And Onski really seems to be focusing on, he's jumping the best, with the best in the world here during your winter, and then he's really, going to Europe and competing with those top people.
Yeah. I'd agree, that was too bad. I thought he did a great job actually getting straight to the combination.
Onski just coming home with that 12 falls there in 71.25. Still on those 5 clears so far. Still in that top spot is Aaron Ballard in 66.62. Fastest of those 4 falters and standing in 6th place is Ashley Bond. Ty, looking at, we only have 5 clears, and we said about it earlier, it's definitely not something we thought would be a problem. Is there anything in particular you're looking at, and your reasoning behind maybe why there's only 5 clears?
I think a lot of it has to do with the course. Obviously, is proving to be a little bit difficult, more difficult than it was when we walked it. And then also the horsepower. People aren't using their best horses. They're using horses that don't have as much experience. Things like that will for sure cause rails.
Next in, we welcome Philip McGuan back with us again. He is aboard Corando. This is a 16-year-old gelding. We spoke about it yesterday. Another rider that is supported by such a great family and such a great organization is Philip Wood Evergate. We see him and Niall swap horses a lot, which is cool to see how the different horses ride with the different riders. But very good program. Philip is really equipped with good horses, which is amazing to see.
For sure. Definitely the past few years have been great for him. Has a lot of great horses. And yeah, that is funny. Him and Niall do switch a lot, which is cool to see.
Yeah, they're really, you can see them like focusing in on the development of those less experienced horses, and the two of them, they both kind of play around with them and see what they can get out of them, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, as typically we don't see it that much, as a 5-star rider like Niall tend to keep the better horses for themselves, because obviously they want to compete, and it's great to see that Niall is sharing those horses with Philip and giving him a chance to really compete.
Definitely, yeah.
Clear round there for Philip McGuan in 68.58, slotting himself into a 3rd place.
Super round for Philip.
Erin Ballard still in that top spot. She's always someone that I watch in a jump off that I actually don't think she's going very fast, but is so efficient in the way she rides. As she's so tight and keeps the canter. Erin always is someone that is in the money and gives people a run for their money, which is cool to see as a rider.
For sure. She's always up there. She's a very big competitive spirit, which is awesome.
Currently in the ring, we have Lacey Gilbertson. She is aboard Lulu MPS Z. This is a 10-year-old Zangerzeider mare. These two always super fast, picking up second place in a 3-star Grand Prix in Kentucky, also picking up some placings in Traverse City. I know Lacey has so much fun with Lulu. She's always someone she can be super competitive with and, trust her so much to go at speed and pick up her legs.
Yeah. She knows her horses very well.
We saw Lacey yesterday jump one of her new horses, Belle. And I love to see, Lacey's and her team are so good at picking the right horses for her. They make sure it's her style, which is one, very difficult to find a top horse, but also find a horse that suits someone's style of riding is an amazing talent, really.
Yeah.
Still only a 10-year-old mare, but has put so much mileage together over the last year or so. We saw Lulu, I think, jump under the lights for the first time last year here during pre-season, and the two of them together have really just grown and picked up results and had such a positive year together.
For sure.
Just unlucky that first part of that double at 9A coming down. It's definitely a course that has, walking it, as you said, you didn't think it was so difficult. It's kind of cause a false sense of security because you walk it, it's super flowing, super nice. It's always, flowing canter, no distances you have to adjust so much. It seems to everything roll up nicely, but the problem with that is you tend to kind of get a little bit flat as you're going around because you're on such a steady pace.
Yeah. You just kind of get lulled into nothing, a little bit relaxed.
Yeah. You think you're all cruising along.
Yeah, exactly.
Next in, we welcome Peter de Brabandier. He is aboard Warland. This is a 13-year-old Irish-bred gelding by Thiam Dumont.
Peter came over last year. Him and Marty have a great thing together.
Yeah, it's really nice to see, Marty obviously a very successful horse dealer, selling horses and, such quality as well. He always has, such good quality horses for any competition or any rider, really.
Yeah.
But we've seen Peter, he jumped on the Nations Cup team here last year. It's great to see that Marty is choosing to keep those better horses for him so he can compete at such a high level.
Yeah.
Which obviously is hard for him when his business is sales.
Yeah, for sure.
But Peter, as you said, came over last year during pre-season and really hit the ground running, and has the two of them together have had such good operation together.
Yeah, great adaptability. He can kind of get on anything like Aaron and make it be successful, which is awesome.
That is, a talent into itself, is the ability to jump on any horse and be able to get a good tune out of it.
For sure.
Now you see Aaron hop off one really, really hot horse at the Ingate and jump on something that isn't so hot, and she's still able to produce an unbelievable result out of any horse she sits on. Peter seems the same. You watch him in other rings, super positive all the time, and puts in solid results all the time.
Yeah.
Just the 4 false there in 68.11. That double at 9 coming back to be a problem again. Seemed to ease off a little bit for a while.
Yeah.
But definitely starting to become a problem once again. Hallie Grimes comes back to us once again. She is aboard Ashton DVZ. This is an 8-year-old gelding. An 8-year-old, so stepping up to that level as we see time and time again in this class. I know Hallie's super excited about Ash, and she's developed him herself and worked really hard on him and competed at the Young Jumper Championships and all of that. So it's nice to see her focus on the development of younger horses.
Yeah, it's always great to see in developing your string kind of the way you want it,
That's the first time we've seen 2 come down today. He just didn't seem to see the back bar.
Yeah, he just kind of came down. It kind of looked like he didn't see it. You're right. I think Hallie might save this for another day.
Yeah, Hallie just wave of the hand there.
Yeah.
As you said, we talked about earlier, young horse, not so experienced, also coming into this ring for, I think she jumped him during the the Young Jumper Week here last year when
Yeah.
those young horses get to jump in the Grand Prix ring. But that's the only time they get to do that. So bring him up to that level is it's so hard to do, and when's the right time to do that also.
For sure, and I think preseason is that.
We welcome in Genevieve Meyer now. She is aboard Carl Reeve Tassilo. This is a 10-year-old gelding by Telex. We spoke about Cassidy Rain earlier, stepping up to that 5-star level through Major League. Genevieve also a rider that has been now is part of that Major League circuit, which is great for riders that are, it's so difficult to get into a 5-star, especially in Europe, that it's nice that, they now get that chance to have that exposure.
Yeah, definitely, and Major League is a great way to do that.
That Horseware Ireland vertical at 3 is a jump that's come down the most today.
Yeah.
We have a pretty even playing field. Pretty much all the jumps have come down now except one.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing sign of a course builder.
Yeah, exactly. Dispersing rails all over, which is super.
And we obviously said 9 has been a problem, but I think people have seen the ability to ride in a different manner to get the best results out of that double and that line down here.
Definitely.
Ten seems to be a bit more of an issue for after the drag break.
Yeah. And they get a little bit lax by the gate. Just want to go towards that.
And it is a long line heading towards the gate, so the horse has so much time to look at the gate. So definitely, taking their attention away from it. Genevieve just finishing up there on the 12 jumping faults and 1 time fault. We have a total of 3 left in today's Dover Saddlery 1m50 Classic. Bliss Ears comes back to us once again. She is aboard Petite Giraffe. This is a 10-year-old gelding by Emerald. So another, famous breeding. Those stallions come up time and time again to continuously produce, the really good horses. I think it's something I find the horse industry is changing so much over the years. A lot of new FEI rules. You're seeing people become more natural at what they're putting on their horse. No boots, no shoes, etc. We see more horses being bred more sporty. Not typical of. You look at Irish bred horses. They traditionally are stocky and working horses, but definitely over the years, more and more people are crossbreeding to create more of a sporty horse.
For sure.
Nowadays, you really have to have a horse that's a sporty horse and be able to jump at a 5-star level.
Definitely. I think there's a specific horse that can do that easily, which is
Grail.
Grail, yeah. Very sporty horse.
We spoke earlier about the Europeans coming over for pre-season to, help their horses climatize a little bit more. But also these US riders a lot of them have been gone out of here. So their horses aren't used to the Florida heat or the Florida humidity so much.
For sure. I think a lot of people tend to leave during the summer when it's so hot, and then they don't get back. They go somewhere where it's cold and then come and it's hot again.
Because, you really do have to have that extra care for your horses while down here. They are obviously sweating more, the humidity, the air for them. There's also flies everywhere, so that doesn't help the situation.
For sure. So many variables.
There's so many variables down here for, you guys as riders, as athletes, and, the horse show or the horse, grooms and bar managers. There's so much more you guys have to take into consideration to get that good result out of a horse.
Definitely.
the emphasis on the importance of a team, really.
Exactly, yeah. It's all about the team. You have to have a good team behind you, for sure.
Our last to go, who is our fastest for Falter as of now? Ashley Bond comes back into the ring with Echo LVF. Another one by Emerald, which is interesting enough. Both seem quite sporty, which is, quite common with an Emerald horse. But Ashley could be our winner. She's definitely someone you
For
wouldn't
sure,
count
definitely.
out.
I think this might have been one that she bred, actually.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. As we spoke earlier, such a good horsewoman and really focused in on her horse and so dedicated to the sport.
Definitely. And again, always thinking about longevity and bringing up the next string of horses, which is really cool to see.
I had Sydney Shulman here with me yesterday, and she's on the same team, Team Israel with Ashley, and she did express that, Nightwish, that horse that she jumped yesterday, is Ashley's really focusing in on the LA Olympics and already thinking towards that, and she might want to love to jump you just don't know the development of a horse, but you look at maybe the Rolex Grand Prix at the end of the year, like you have to make the call then, but also the Olympics is quite far away.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a waiting game, really.
Definitely. See what you have when the time arises.
Because, with horses, anything can happen in 3 years.
Definitely.
It is always nice to see for the Olympics, so the rotation of horses, because not that many horses will come back for 2 Olympics in a row. So it is cool to, when you see those top athletes time and time again, that their ability to produce and focus in on the big championships.
Yeah.
Ashley just having that last oxer down as well, finishing up on that 8 false. Ashley finishing us up here in the Dover Saddlery 1m50 Classic here in Wellington International. Aaron Ballard taking that top spot in 66.62. Vanessa Hood taking second. Philip McGuan in third. Gavin Moylan in fourth. Max Rutledge in fifth. And Shane Sweetnam taking sixth. So only 3 clear rounds we saw in today's 46 that started. So definitely different to yesterday. We had the 20 clear out of, I think 45 or so jumped yesterday. Definitely different to yesterday, but also a very forward flowing course, but it was just poles coming down everywhere.
Poles coming down everywhere, just a few clear. I think people using their second horses plays a role in that, and yeah, overall a pretty good class though.
Yeah, very good class. Good watching and good horses and good riders, which is amazing to see, and fortunate that we get to see that while we're here in Wellington.
Always.
So Aaron taking the top spot there. Finishing out today's Speed Classic. We'll be back again tomorrow for our 4-star Grand Prix, so make sure you tune in for that. Ty, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Ellen Sweetnam, and I'll be back again tomorrow, so make sure you tune in to watch our 4-star Grand Prix.
Congratulations again, Aaron Ballard, winner on the day for the $32,000 Meter 50 Speed Classic, sponsored by Dover Saddlery, with Elon Furter's new star, Van der Berghoeven.